The NFL was once all about those fast and powerful runners who were tough to defend and even tougher to bring down. But what's even better than these elusive, dynamic rushers are the ones who can also catch, making them the ultimate dual-threat running backs. The NFL has seen a good number of these dual-threat beasts, but here are the very best 5 of them. But first, we gotta start with some honorable mentions, and up first is Ricky Watters. Ricky Watters might not have been the absolute best rusher or receiver, but he was super consistent and reliable as a dual-threat option. He regularly racked up over 1,000 rushing yards and 400 receiving yards each season. Watters could do it all: block, run, a full route tree, and create matchup problems for defenses. That's why he was such a crucial part of the 1994 49ers, who won the Super Bowl and later played key roles with the Philadelphia Eagles and Seattle Seahawks. Over his career, he surpassed 10,000 rushing yards and 4,000 receiving yards, proving his versatility and dual-threat value. Next up, we've got Tiki Barber. In his 10 years in the league, Tiki showed everyone he was one of the best backs with his blazing speed and incredible strength. He put up 6 seasons with over 1,000 rushing yards and 50 receptions, trailing only LaDainian Tomlinson. Barber also had over 800 rushing yards in 7 out of his 10 seasons. Even more impressive, he never finished a season with less than 400 receiving yards after his second year. Barber tallied an incredible 586 receptions for 5,183 receiving yards and 10,449 rushing yards, and scored 67 touchdowns, proving he was a legit dual threat. Starting off the list at number 5, we've got Thurman Thomas. Thomas was one of the deadliest running backs of the 90s. While he was all about running the ball down the defense's throat, he was also an incredible aerial threat, recording 4 seasons with 50-plus receptions and racking up over 200 receiving yards in 10 of his 12 years in the league. Drafted by the Buffalo Bills in the second round of the 1988 draft, Thomas hit the ground running with a touchdown in his NFL debut against the Vikings. He quickly showcased his dual-threat abilities, combining rushing power with exceptional receiving skills out of the backfield. He developed into one of the NFL's most versatile and dangerous offensive players, peaking in 1991 when he won NFL MVP honors by rushing for 1,407 yards, posting 62 receptions for 631 yards, and registering 12 combined touchdowns. His ability to catch the ball as well as run with it made him an elite dual-threat back, crucial to the Bills' no-huddle offensive attack, helping lead them to 4 consecutive Super Bowls in the 1990s. Though the Bills didn't bring a Super Bowl title home, it wasn't due to Thomas's play. His performances were stellar, and his versatility and ability to contribute both on the ground and through the air were the key to the Bills' sustained success through that period. Thomas was a do-it-all back, amassing 12,074 rushing yards and 65 touchdowns on 2,877 career attempts, and adding 4,458 yards and 23 touchdowns on 472 catches throughout his career. Next up at number 4 is Marcus Allen. The Raiders snagged Allen as the 10th overall pick in the 1982 NFL Draft out of USC, and he quickly became one of the best dual threats in football throughout the 80s. He kicked off his career with a bang, rushing for 697 yards and 11 touchdowns, plus catching 38 passes for 401 yards and 3 scores, even though his rookie season was cut to 9 games due to a player's strike. But that was just the start. Allen rushed for over 1,000 yards in each of the next 3 seasons and racked up over 400 receiving yards in all 6 of his first years in the league. Allen was an explosive player with smooth acceleration, whether he was running down the middle or up the sidelines. Defenders knew they were in for a world of pain. While Allen's running game was outstanding, his receiving skills were just as remarkable. He was the first NFL player to rush for 10,000 yards and have 5,000 receiving yards, truly ahead of his time as a dual-threat back. During his time with the Raiders, Allen won a Super Bowl, was a 5-time Pro Bowl selection, and was named the league's MVP in 1985 after amassing 1,759 rushing yards with 11 touchdowns and hauling in 67 receptions for 555 yards. Allen's career could have been even more incredible if not for a bitter feud with Raiders owner Al Davis and the arrival of Bo Jackson in 1987, which led to Allen being underutilized during part of his prime. Despite this, he still finished his career with 12,243 rushing yards and 123 touchdowns, plus 587 receptions and 5,411 yards, the highest reception total ever for a running back at the time. Coming in at number 3 is one of the most celebrated athletes in professional sports, Walter Payton. Payton was a generational running back for the Chicago Bears who redefined the game and set a new standard for what it meant to be a professional, both on and off the field. Drafted 4th overall in the 1975 NFL Draft, it took just over a season for Payton to prove he would be one of the most dominant running backs of his era. He had a combination of speed and a power that was unprecedented in the NFL. Payton could do it all: run, block, catch, and even throw the ball. His dual threat ability was so devastating that defenses would load the box against him, but they still couldn't stop him. Payton's maneuverability on the field was nothing short of remarkable. His elusive footwork and superb body control complemented his vision perfectly, allowing him to weave through defenders effortlessly. This is why he was able to rush for over 1,200 yards in every non-strike season from 1976 to 1986. Additionally, he was a fantastic receiver out of the backfield. His exceptional receiving skills often allowed him to line up as a wide receiver, creating mismatches against defenses. Despite the Bears' reluctance to throw the ball and playing in an era where passing was less common, Payton finished his career with 492 receptions. Consistency is everything for a running back, and no one was more dependable than Sweetness, who accumulated an incredible 16,726 rushing yards, 4,538 receiving yards, and 492 receptions, making him a top contender on any list of dual threat backs. But as crazy as it sounds, at number 2, we've got one of the most complete running backs to ever play in the NFL, LaDainian Tomlinson. He was the ultimate offensive weapon and as versatile as they come. Tomlinson entered the NFL in 2001 and was quickly recognized as the most complete running back in his class, and he wasted no time showing why. The most impressive aspect of Tomlinson's career was his immediate impact. There was no learning curve for LT, as he dominated right from the start and stayed elite for years. An elusive and powerful runner, Tomlinson was also a highly skilled receiver. He caught 59 passes in his rookie year and had 50 or more catches in 9 of his 11 seasons. In 2003, Tomlinson achieved a rare feat for running backs by pulling in 100 receptions for 725 yards and 4 touchdowns. But LT's best year came in 2006 when he rushed for 1,815 yards and 28 touchdowns, while also catching 56 passes for 508 yards and 3 touchdowns. LT was simply a dual threat back who found multiple ways to score. On the ground, he could hit any hole on the line or dive over everyone to avoid getting tackled for a loss. He could cut on a dime, had brute strength and power, and his game-breaking acceleration left defenders in the dust. In the passing game, no defender could isolate him in single coverage, and a linebacker's spies didn't work either. This made Tomlinson a dangerous target out of the backfield, and he only got better as the years went on. LT had power, finesse, speed, and hand-eye coordination, making him one of the most deadly dual threats the league has ever seen. That's why he is second all-time in career rushing touchdowns at 145, ranks 7th in career rushing yards with 13,684, and is 3rd in receptions for a running back at 624. When it comes to the best dual threat running backs of all time, Marshall Faulk's resume stands out in a league of its own. He leads the NFL in both receptions and receiving yards by a running back and is widely celebrated as the greatest dual threat back in history. Faulk burst onto the scene after being selected 2nd overall by the Indianapolis Colts in the 1994 NFL Draft. He wasted no time making an impact, rushing for 143 yards and 3 touchdowns in his debut against the Houston Oilers on September 4th, 1994. This explosive start was just the beginning. Faulk won NFL Rookie of the Year and was the only rookie chosen for the Pro Bowl, where he was also named Player of the Game. Faulk continued his impressive play until 1999 when he was traded to the St. Louis Rams after 5 standout seasons and over 8,000 yards from scrimmage with the Colts. In St. Louis, he picked up right where he left off, amassing 6,959 rushing yards on 1,447 carries and 58 touchdowns from 1999 to 2005. He also contributed 470 receptions for 4,071 yards and 27 touchdowns in the Rams' explosive offense, famously known as the greatest show on turf. Falk transformed the position by proving that a running back could excel in the passing game just like the top receivers. He combined the strength to run between the tackles with the agility and finesse to showcase wide receiver skills. Falk won the NFL Offensive Player of the Year award 3 times in a row, which included his 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving season in 1999, and won the 2000 MVP award after a season with 26 touchdowns and 2,189 total yards. Over his 12-year career, he amassed a record-setting 6,875 receiving yards alongside his rushing achievements. Falk's quick cuts, smart play, and exceptional receiving skills made him nearly impossible to cover, and he is undoubtedly the best dual threat the league has ever seen. With that in mind, let me know what you think and who your top 5 are in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on so you never miss a video. See you in the next one.